This is the Rocking RoadShow, the only show for bikers, by bikers. Jump on as we talk all things motorcycle, maintenance, accessories, weekly rides, bike nights, and more with your hosts, Alfie and the 1-3. So kickstands up and let's get rolling.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rocking RoadShow. It's me, your boy Alfie. As always, I'm here with my boy, the 1-3. Welcome. Drinking the beers. Everybody's having a good time. Glad you guys could join us today. And hopefully we will have a good show for you today. I think we do. We got a lot of things that we kind of want to cover up here. Some fun things, some not so fun things, and some really cool things that we just found out.
Absolutely.
About, half an hour before we started doing
this.
Yeah, right?
So.
So without further ado, let us get into a little adventure that me and the 1-3 decided to do the other day.
Was it 2 weeks ago? Tomorrow. 2 weeks ago tomorrow.
Yeah,
it was on a Friday.
Yep.
I was off. So,
a rare opportunity for you to be off.
Yeah, at that time. Well, that's a whole new story right there. We'll talk about that later. But so I called up Alvy and I said, "Hey man, let's go for a ride." So my buddy Sam comes over to the house.
Well, let's hold on. Time out. Let's preface this. So that week leading up to that, 1-3's like, "We've got to go for a ride. I've got the day off. Blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Cool. I'm game. Let's get it done." Really crappy week for me because I'm dealing with with work issues and all that shit. So I'm like, this is gonna be great. We'll ride up to Zello Trail up in Crystal River, which if you haven't done yet, awesome time, really good ride. We'll talk about it here in a little bit. But so, anyways, that's the lead up into Friday.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Well, you forgot about it. The weather was gorgeous
all week,
freaking beautiful,
except for Friday
when we wake up, man. So it's raining. He comes over. My buddy Sam comes over and he decides to join us. So it's raining at my house. Called Alvy. What's it like? It's fucking pouring. We doing this? And I'm like, yeah, I guess we'll still do this. I mean, it only says it's going to be an hour or two. It doesn't say it. So we hung out for about an hour. All right, looks like it passed us. We ride over. We meet up over at the 7-Eleven on 41. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and so when I'm still half on the fence about this ride because I hate being wet. I really hate being wet.
Rain gear, brother, rain gear.
Yeah, but it shit never works, man. I did. Mine actually did okay, which I was surprised.
I was dry.
But so I actually, the funny part about that whole story is I leave my house, and when I leave my house, I don't have anything on. I just got, my clothes.
You were naked?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But no, I wasn't totally naked, but no, I just, just jeans and t-shirt and whatnot. So I get going, and I come out of my house going down 54, and as I turn onto 54, I'm looking where I'm headed.
Right.
And I go, no. I stop, open my bags, get my rain gear, and I put my rain gear on. Thank God, because about 5 miles down the road, fucking hellfire and brimstone.
Oh, let loose.
I mean, it just let loose like a son of a bitch. And it was like, well, I'm in it now. So meet up with Bobby and Sam, and we gas up, and we take off. And what do you say, the first probably 30 minutes.
Yeah,
it wasn't raining, but it was still just
misty,
shitty. It was drizzles here and there, but I think it was more road. It was more water, kick up from cars and shit like that than it was actually raining. Yeah. But it wasn't until we got to.
We took our rain gear off not that far.
Yeah,
up the
road. We weren't. No, it took us. We were on the bikes for about an hour before we got off. They got the rain gear off.
Where the hell did we take them off? I don't even remember.
It was a Publix shopping lot or shopping center somewhere. It was a ways down.
That's right.
We were still out
almost to 19.
Yeah, we were way out. As a matter of fact, it was where 41 and 19 or 98 and 19 meet up.
That's where it was.
That's where we switched out, and even then it was kind of like, sure, why not? Because it was getting toasty at that point because you were hitting points where the sun had finally started to come out or whatever. But yeah, so we get up there, and for those of you guys who haven't done the Ozello Trail here in Florida, it's like a mini Dragon Tail from, and I say mini because it's mini, right? Nothing compared to Dragon Tail. Yeah. It's 6 miles long from start to finish, and I don't know, what'd you say? Probably 20, 25 turns, somewhere around in there.
We'll have to count them out and check it out.
Yeah.
But there's a couple that are like, when it's wet, 10-mile-an-hour turns, do the 10 miles an hour.
Yeah, for sure.
my bike decided to.
Yeah, there were a couple times where the back end started sliding out on every. And what's sad about that is I actually brought my GoPro and I was gonna record going down that street, but by the time we got there, it wasn't worth it, and it just wasn't a pretty ride, because normally that ride's actually pretty cool because it's through the swamp and all that stuff. It's really cool ride. But yeah, so it was wet, so you really couldn't have fun with it. But we end up at the end of that, and there's a really cool restaurant at the end called Old Peck's or something like that.
Something like that. It was a nice little restaurant.
Old Peck's Old Port, and pretty cool little restaurant. Cold beer, and it's just a seafood restaurant. But nothing.
Well, they got burgers, seafood.
Yeah, whatever. Nothing over the top, but pretty good little spot.
Yeah.
And actually in the beginning, or probably, the first half of the trail too, there's a couple of other spots, so you could actually get on the trail, stop, get a beer if you want or whatever, right, and then ride the rest of it.
And don't forget, you do pass High Octane,
right?
Which I have a little story about that as well. But you pass and Crystal Harley Davidson, which we did not get to go in.
No,
but we need to do a little.
Yeah, we need to.
Apologize for this. So this whole show, which was really good,
is apparently not
gonna
good.
Suck. Oh, look, we got a thumbs up. Is that what that is? Kim, thank you.
Well, that really pisses me off now.
Yeah. So anyway, we did have a really good show. Sorry for the. Thank you, Dan. Kim? All right.
Well then.
Do we start over?
Well, we could. I mean, we're only a half an hour in here. We can do a quick recap of everything here. So
yeah.
Now we got everybody on board here. Let's try this again. So
the discussion looked good. I love it.
Thanks,
it
Dan.
was.
Love you, brother. Oh man. All right, so let's try this again. So we're just gonna take a little step back here, and we're gonna try and bring you guys some riveting conversation. Hey, you know what though? I've done this a million times. I've done podcasts a million times, and sometimes the second take is better than the first.
Oh.
So
I was wondering why it was getting hot in here. You turned the damn fan
I turned
off.
a fan off thinking that it was that the mic was picking up the fan, but no, we had something totally going on differently. So, okay. So with that in mind, thank you people for everybody
letting us know.
And now that we're back online here, let's try and do this again. So,
all right, so we'll go back. Let's backtrack. We're talking about the Soggy ride. Okay, so we're going to go all the way to the beginning. Real quick. This is going to be a very quick.
It's going to be just a fast version here, so we don't run over time here.
So all week, 2 weeks ago, beautiful day. Gorgeous days.
Yep.
I had the day off on Friday. I asked Galvey, hey man, let's go for a ride. He's like, cool, let's do this. So I invite my buddy Sam. Sam comes to the house. It's raining. It's like, so, okay, we're still going to do this? Alvy calls. What's happening there?
Pouring. Like, I'm talking monsoon, tropical storm, whatever you want to call it. It's raining like a sumbitch. And I talked to Bobby and I'm like, dude, are we gonna do this, man? Because this is gonna suck, right?
No.
So he's like, yeah, just wait it out, because it was just a couple of lines that were coming through, and by the time the lines were through, it was gonna be a half an hour, we'd be on our way and go. So wait. Bobby texts me. He's like, we're on our way. We're out. I'm like, all right, cool. So I jump on the bike and I take off. And I get about 5 miles down the road and realize I need to put my rain gear on because I'm looking at this freaking black cloud of
because it went
disaster.
over you heading east.
And I'm heading east. And you guys are coming west into it. So, so anyways, meet up with 1-3 and Sam and at a 7-Eleven there, corner of 41, and we're all just, I mean, we're soaked, legit soaked, and we're like, well, we're already in it.
Let's go.
Fuck it, let's roll. So we head out, and it's about a 2-hour ride north. We went to the Ozello Trail and a place up there called Peck's Old Port.
If you've never been there, you got to go.
Yeah, the restaurant's pretty cool. It's at the end of the Ozello Trail. The Ozello Trail is like a 6-mile. It's a 6-mile road, and it's got, I don't know, 15 or 20 pretty good turns and windies and whatnot.
There's 2 that are 10 miles an hour. Please do that.
Yeah, especially if it's wet, because we definitely had some sliding going on.
Yeah.
It was not the best representation of the Ozello Trail when we were
Right.
there. We definitely got to go back and do it again. But it was fun.
It was fun.
I mean,
We had a great time.
We had a good time.
We passed High Octane. We passed Crystal.
The Crystal
Excuse
River
me.
Harley Davidson, which
Is
they
awesome.
moved, and it looks awesome now.
Yeah.
It's a huge, huge facility. We definitely got to make a trip up there and check
Right.
out that dealership. So with that, good ride. You guys should do it. If you're in Florida, it's I've heard it called the tail of the gecko or something like that, tail of the iguana, something like that.
Yeah, because it's definitely not the dragon.
It's not the dragon's tail, but it's our little piece of whatever, right? So really cool ride though, really fun. And if you do it on a sunny day, you can hit a little bar before you start the trail, and then at the end you've got a pretty good a pretty good restaurant to get some burgers and fries and seafood and whatnot, and sharks
that were really
dolphin because the man from Key West thought he saw sharks.
Hey, I didn't have my glasses on.
But we did see some hogs and whatnot. So it was a pretty cool. What
kind of
ride.
hogs?
Some wild hogs.
Wild hogs.
So it was a pretty cool little ride. But springboarding onto that, 1-3 went up Sunday.
Yeah, the week after.
The week after to High Octane,
which
I'd never been to, and sounded like it was a pretty good time.
There's like 3 bands, three stages in there. There's bands all the time. They got 1, 2, probably about 5 bars in the place. Always something happening. It's a cool place. Man.
Yeah,
it's just a really good place to go. They always have events. They got bike nights. They got all kinds of things going on.
Cool.
Hey, Bobby, how you doing? Just see you joined. Anyway, when we left, because my wife wasn't really feeling that long of a ride, we started out with a small ride and ended up being a very long ride.
Yeah.
But when we left, we get back coming on 98, and I see her lights flashing at me. I'm like, oh shit, something happened. Pull over. My phone fell. What? She goes, yeah, I lost my phone. Freaking mount and all. The mount was still attached to the handlebars. Everything else was gone.
Really?
Yeah, so I went back. We spent like 40 minutes looking for
you'll
this
never
thing.
find it.
Forget it. It's
never
gone.
find it.
So, and it was on a Saturday. It wasn't Sunday because we had our crew meeting for crew of Blackbeard's Revenge. Anyway, long story short, she's getting a new phone. She's using her iPhone 6, which is considerably smaller than the iPhone.
Yeah, it's funny,
Plus,
man. Yeah,
8 Plus she has,
Yeah.
so it's like the big one.
Yeah. I had the 7 Plus, and it's funny when you grab a regular 6, you're like,
this is the 8 Plus.
Yeah,
and it's got some weight to it, and it went.
But that's so that was a condensed version of
that part
of the conversation that we had about our soggy ride that apparently sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher. Maybe, I don't know.
Static.
I'm pissed. I'm gonna go back and have to listen to it.
I know.
But I'll re-edit this and hopefully make it a better looking video. But we'll make that happen.
So after that, we springboard. Where did we go?
We went to the recall.
We went to the recall.
We talked about the Harley Davidson recall.
So the Harley Davidson recall, just so everybody knows, the Harley Davidson is recalling 238,300 motorcycles worldwide for a clutch problem. Mind you, this is the 4th recall in 5 years for a clutch problem for Harley Davidson.
I wonder who's making their clutches.
It's a good thing to find out. Maybe we should see what's going on with that.
Could be something.
Now, this recall, it includes all model year 2017-18 Touring, Trike, and CVO Touring models, as well as some 2017 Softails. So if you have any of those, please get it looked at. It is a voluntary recall, but I would absolutely get it checked into because a clutch is a clutch.
Yeah, man, you gotta take a look at it. Don't.
And shifting is very important.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I found that out last night too.
Yes, it is.
That's another story after this story.
So yeah, definitely. We kind of talked about. We tried talking about this earlier, and we went across the board where Harley, over the years, has had their issues.
They have.
Like 13 said, we're on the 4th recall already for clutches.
Right,
on
and
their
that's
bikes.
in 5 years. That's only in 5 years.
So I mean, that's a recall a year for a clutch. So again, somebody, whether it's their own internal shop making clutches, or if they're outsourcing it out somewhere, whoever's making their clutches apparently doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
Something going on, man. They're Harley Davidson. Oh my gosh, I can't speak today. Is saying that this recall will cost about $35 million in the current fiscal quarter.
Yeah, that's
quarter, not year.
That's tough. That's first of all, that's quite a bit of money. But second of all, that's tough for a company that's kind of hurting right now to begin with.
Yeah. But they are saying, hey, the safety of our riders is the highest priority, and that's good. I
mean, at least they're
not worried about the cost because
they're trying to get ahead of it, and they have to. I mean, they definitely have to get ahead of it, and they have to do the right thing there. I mean, their reputation is on it. I mean, like I said, they've had issues. They've had issues with the Milwaukee 8 engine. They've had some problems with those. I know somebody who had their whole freaking oil sump just dry out and blew heads.
No way, man.
Yeah, just on a brand new bike, on a brand new 2018 Road Glide. Just
wow.
Oil just freaking drained out and blew the whole engine. Now he did just get a stage 4 upgrade on it, so it could have been something with the work that was done. Who knows? But
he had it through Harley.
He had all Harley parts, so it was all warranted and everything else. So you got basically a brand new engine out of the whole thing. But I mean, like I said, this goes back to like we were saying earlier, a culture of the Harley Davidson company that they're just kind of dropping the ball lately, and they really gotta figure it out because they're already hurting financially because they're not getting the young market into motorcycles. Right. The old guys like us are dying out or getting too old to ride, and there's a big gap.
Come on, man.
Well, I'm just saying as a group, right?
I got a few years on
I think brother. We do too, but I mean, I'm just saying as a group, we're carrying the brand forward. Right. But there's nobody behind us to try and carry that well,
and like you said earlier before, with all our static going on, nobody could understand what we were talking about, the Indian and Victory and all that. Yeah. You were talking that you like those.
Yeah, the new Indian Dark Horse, man. That thing's sweet.
Yeah, and here I go. I'm not into it. I'm Harley,
Right.
I've wanted a Harley Davidson for many, many years since I was a kid, so. Yeah. And yes, I did see the old Indians, the original ones, Indians. Now they were pretty cool looking, but they were always retro. They always stayed to that style, and I know that you said Victory just a second ago. Yeah. Well, Victory owns Indian. Right. Oh, wait a minute, that's Polaris.
Polaris
owns both of them. Yeah. And that's why Victory's going away, because they're putting all their money into Indian.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, I mean, we'll see what happens. That's definitely, you know, it's funny because that's the, you know, American bike against American bike. That's really a Canadian bike.
Canadian. It's Canadian.
So we'll see how that ends up turning out. But that was the Harley recall tidbit that we wanted to get out there and get everybody going on.
Absolutely. And we can go from recall to what's coming up
what's coming next, right? We talked about the millennial, right? That the younger crowd isn't getting on motorcycles like we did when we were growing up. And so we got to figure out what, you know, why is that? What's causing that? So maybe Harley's answer to that is the Harley Davidson Livewire.
The Livewire, which is an electric motorcycle. That's it. It's got an electric motor. They a couple little tidbits about it. Harley's not putting a lot out there yet. All what they have right now is basically the name. I mean, they have the name, and it's just an electric motorcycle. There's no word on how much money it will cost or how much it will weigh.
Right.
And weight is a big thing. I mean, look at the size of that thing. You know, I'm just sitting here looking at the I guess what
transfer case. I don't know. It's kind of what it looks like
underneath there. Yeah. I mean, it's freaking huge, and that's got to be the engine with the motor with the windings up there above it.
Yeah.
But it's just ridiculously huge. I guess you kind of put it in the same class or family of the V-Rod.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a V-Rod almost.
You know, I mean, and okay, so what's it going to sell for? Think about it.
I mean, you got to think, like, you know, we were talking about it, like an entry model Tesla is running people $60,000 or so. You know, to get in to even get into one, right? So you got to figure that
$30,000.
Yeah, I mean, easily, right?
$30,000 to get into just buy the V-Rod,
right?
buy a water cool Harley Davidson,
right? I mean, you know, and I don't, you know, I didn't see any literature from Harley saying that this was to get the younger crowd in, but it's got to be something along those lines because I don't personally see a market for an electric bike. I don't. It's cool.
They're out there.
It's neat.
There's a few out there. I mean, who was it? OCC, I think they built. Did they do one? I think they built one. They built one that was just. They took you know, because they always do some, you know, sponsored motorcycles and shit.
Right.
So this electric motor company sponsored them, and they built a motorcycle with this engine. They said it was incredibly fast.
I can imagine they'd be, you know, I mean, it's an electric motor,
I mean,
right?
There's
nothing to it. It's just it's power to the wheel. You just go.
And I mean, you know? is it resistance? Resistors? I don't know. I can't.
Yeah, I mean,
my electricals.
You know, the Teslas,
plumbing.
right? There's motors on each wheel. That's how they're powered.
Right.
You know, so you got to imagine the bike's probably similar to that. I don't imagine it would have a transmission or anything like that, right? So I mean, it's power to the wheel.
Some way to transfer it. Maybe, like you said, transfer case, but some way to transfer the power from that motor to the rear wheel.
Right, and I mean, it could be as simple as putting the electric motor on the hub of the rear wheel. Because I mean, I don't know how big these motors are getting. You know,
the side.
Well,
that's
yeah,
all
but
battery pack.
But it could be battery, right? You never know. I mean, the motor could be right there on the back of the. I'm gonna pull it back up real quick.
Pull one up.
But it could be right on the back.
Now I'm looking. It looks like you're looking through the wheel.
It'll pop up here in a second. But no, you got a picture for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it could be as simple as putting the motor. I say simple, but putting the motor on the rear axle.
It looks belt driven.
But it, you know, and it did say something about it being belt driven too.
Yeah,
so
it's belt driven.
You know, it could be. Well, you know what? That's where it is. Then, if you look there, right underneath the seat, that's probably the motor.
That is the motor,
and then it's belt driven to the rear wheel.
Yeah.
So
the sound of this thing.
Yeah. Right. How is it going to sound? And I mean.
It'll sound like a jet engine, bro.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
like whine out like a jet.
Like I said, as a pilot, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, that'd be cool as shit. But I mean, realistically, do I want my bike to sound like a? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on. I mean,
it's gonna sound like a little kid's toy.
Harley Davidson worded it a little bit different. Yes, I did read this. They did say it's going to sound like a jet engine.
Yeah.
But they worded it different. And the way they worded it, they say the gear set between the motor and the drive belt has been designed to produce a tone that increases in pitch and volume with speed. Okay? Producing an exciting oral response. Once again, an exciting oral response. Okay? Between speed and acceleration. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. And
yeah, I mean,
but you turn the throttle and it goes wee because there's no gears.
Yeah,
it's just gonna go wee and just whine.
Yeah,
and to me, it's gonna be freaking annoying.
I think so too. I just, like I said, I don't know where the market is for it. I don't see the market. I don't
get it.
Like I said, is it cool? Yeah. Is it? But I mean, it's techie. It's all. But I don't know, man. I don't see the one. I don't see the necessity for it, to be honest. But two, I really don't see a huge market for it.
Hey,
will you see one running down the street eventually? Probably.
It's a good looking bike. I mean,
no, it looks cool.
It really is. I do like the look of it, but
it looks cool. But like I said, I just don't. I don't know.
So. But unfortunately, we're not going to know anything more about it till about January 2019.
Which makes sense.
So that's why there's no specs. They're not putting anything out on this bike. They're trying to keep it all under tabs. I mean, you could probably take these pictures and you can probably dissect them and see what parts are on there if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I got no freaking clue.
Right.
You know, I'm not.
Nor do I really want to be honest.
Like this.
Yeah, so that is the Harley Davidson electric motorcycle. Like I said, is there a market for it? I don't know. Maybe there's a market out in California. Dan, you might want to pick one of these up. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. But so coming off of the Harley electric bike that may or may not have any kind of mechanical work that needs to be done with it.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing.
Yeah. I
mean, I love the sound, and this is where I'm at. I love the sound of my internal combustion engine.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
Sure.
And will this Livewire stick around for generations and generations?
Oh yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah, my motorcycle. Hey, yeah, the engine's gonna go. I rebuild the engine, take the jugs off, boom, boom, put new pistons, rings, bam, 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 put a whole new top end, good to go.
Good. Yeah.
That motor. I guess you could rewind the engine. I mean, but are you going to be able to take that motorcycle and pass it down to your kids for generations? I mean, look at all these old panheads that are out there.
Right.
Knuckleheads. Come on, man.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
there is a lot of them out there.
I'm with you. Now, I mean, like I said, too, how much, there isn't a whole lot of maintenance, so to speak, that gets done on electric motors. I mean, there's just not.
There's always maintenance on it.
Well, sure, there's maintenance, but it's not, it's not in the sense that, because you're not trading fluids, you're not, there's very little friction going on. So, I mean, the reality of it is I think that you could have a bike that would last a while.
Right.
Could it last 20, 30 years? It's possible. It's very possible.
Anybody got any input out there on this? Let me know, man. I mean,
so for what it's worth, it's definitely possible that that it can be passed along. I mean, but it's not going to. I guess the catch-all there is it doesn't have the nostalgia feeling.
I'm going to tell you, I think if it is being done for the millennials are going to be. Because they already proved that they're unlike us anyway.
Right.
It's a throwaway bike.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I think it's a gimmick bike. I think it's a bike that Harley's doing just to kind of, I don't want to say compete, but just kind of be in that space with the other manufacturers that are doing it. But I think you'll see it. It may not even come out of prototype. It may just be something that they say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and it may not see the light of day. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe there was no demand for it, if
Right.
you will. No, maybe the millennials said
What it'll be is, I'll tell you what it'll be. When the specs come out on it and when the price comes out on it, that's going to be the deciding factor as to whether that bike becomes a reality or
if
not.
they keep the costs down enough to keep it, within like V-Rod.
I got to be honest with you. If that bike costs anything more than about $18,000, it's a throwaway bike, in my opinion. I don't think. I mean, like I said, will there be one or two out there? Sure. People are going to buy it.
Someone's going to buy it.
Jay Leno will buy one. You know what I mean?
Oh,
but
Leno probably already has
yeah.
one. This
But
is
I
probably
mean,
the second prototype.
But I mean, in reality, if we're talking a $30,000 motorcycle, I just don't see it happening. But so to segue to the next.
What about their sales in Europe or overseas? Okay, Daniel.
Well, okay, so that's actually a really good point, Dan. I didn't even think about overseas because the reality. Well, they're saying okay, so they do have a pretty good sized market over there. That's for sure. They've got a plant that they put over there, and that was a whole dilemma going on with the tariffs and all that stuff, right? So they built a plant over there. So there's definitely a big market over in Europe, and that's I didn't even think about that, Dan. That's a really good point because that area. I could understand the demand for it out there, or I don't not necessarily understand it, but I can see the demand for it out there because of I'm gonna tell you right now, Europe it's a mess with EPA, like whatever their EPA is. When we were looking to do a trip over there for work, we couldn't do it because of all of the levels of things that you needed to get as far as equipment, things like that. You have to, if you want to take off, for instance, say you're in Paris and you want to go Paris to Portugal. You have to call their air traffic control to get a slot. You have to pay all kinds of fees, environmental fees, all kinds of stuff. It's a mess. So as far as no emission, which we talked about earlier, but no emission vehicles.
Your zero emission vehicle that has a big carbon footprint. I'm sorry, I think it does. You still got to plug it in somewhere, unless you're totally solar at your house and you can plug it in totally solar. Yeah. Then no, that you're still going to have a big carbon footprint.
But yeah, that's a valid point. So I mean, they might be able to sell. They might be able to push them more over in Europe than they do here. We'll see. Who knows? Like I said, we'll see what happens in January when the specs and the price for that bike comes out. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
All right, so to segue to the next little section here that we're going to have, we were talking about, is there really any kind of maintenance or anything going on an electric motorcycle? Well, who knows? We'll see what happens, but we definitely know that there's there's maintenance that needs to be done on our reciprocating motors, right? We know that happens.
You mean internal combustion?
Internal combustion, everything else. So let's talk about what does the 1-3 have for us today for tech tips.
Tech tips, basically doing a pre-ride inspection. I mean, come on, we all, hey man, let's go for a ride. We jump on the bike and go.
Everybody does.
We check it out. We see, hey, look, all right, well, yep. It's got gas, but I'm gonna need some in a couple miles. How many of y'all really go in there, check your oil, check your fluids, check everything right away, and not just your oil.
Right.
You got to check everything. Look at your brake reservoir. Look at your clutch if you have a hydraulic clutch. Because I know someone that's got a leak on his clutch, and I'm not gonna say his name, Alvy. But,
which we're gonna fix, by the way, and we're gonna make a video. We're gonna make a video for you guys for that as well.
So. You have that. You have those issues, and so you want to make sure everything is there: gas, brake, clutch, all that stuff. Make sure all your fluids are good. Second, you want to check your battery. How many people actually check the voltage on their battery?
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Yeah, I hook mine up to a tender, but that's about as far as it goes.
I mean, and most of us do. We all have tenders in our garage. Right. Come in from your ride, plug it in. But are you looking at it? Are you actually take a voltmeter? Don't just trust the gauge. If you have a voltmeter on your bike, check it out and look. Use a voltmeter.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey man, what do we got? What do we got running? Do you have 14? It's 14.3 volts, I believe. When it's running, it should be charging.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a 12-volt system.
Right.
It is 12 volts, but it's got to charge at 14 point something.
Right.
And if you go up too high, for like 14.6, 8, then you're too high. Then something's overcharging. You're going to burn shit up.
Right.
So check your brakes. Check the pads. Check the operation. Make sure you have brake lights. When you touch the front brake, make sure you got lights.
Which is another thing Albie's got to fucking work on, because I've got my strobe light freaking seizure brake lights that for some reason when I have a blinker on and I hit the brake, it cancels out the blinker.
It does cancel it out. Yeah.
So I got to figure out. I got some kind of setting that's wrong on that. I got to work on that and figure that out too.
So check that out and make sure your pads. If you got discs, which most of us do. There are those that have drum in the rear. It's very, the older bikes. Yeah. So check those. Make sure you're within your limits on your adjustments and everything. And tire pressure. Tire pressure is a key thing.
Tire pressure is huge, man.
That's gonna give you different types of rides. I mean, if you have low tire pressure, you can actually slide out. I've done it.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, man, it doesn't look low until you start making that turn and you start sliding out, and you're like, what gravel did I hit? You didn't hit gravel.
Yep.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, tire pressure's big.
All right. Operation of essential parts, okay? Well, what does that mean? Basically, handlebars, levers, everything that moves or anything. It's an essential part of the bike. You want to check it. Check your belt, make sure you're not slack. If you got a chain, make sure the chain's not slack. And those with gear, with the shaft drive, check out that it's not loose, no slop in it.
Right.
Because, my old V-Star, it was a shaft drive. Believe it or not, every now and then, like once a year, maybe I touched it.
Touch it.
Oops. Hey, let's look at that.
Does your shifter work?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
or is there something jammed in it?
Okay. All right. We'll go there. Last night, I'm pulling out of O'Brien's up the road there, and Bobby and I... Anyway, we pull out, something hits my shin, and then all of a sudden I can't shift up or down. Third gear, fourth gear, I'm like stuck. Like, what's going on? Turned out that my lighter, cigarette lighter, came out of the fairing, hit me in the shin, and got lodged between the block and the shifter mechanism, the shift rod. And craziness, all right? But that was an after the fact thing. It didn't happen pre-ride. But yeah.
So the pre-ride is to make sure that you have a lanyard on your cigarette lighter.
That's a good idea. We put a lanyard on that or anything else. But I don't smoke, so I really don't need the lighter anyway. Make sure your lights are working.
Yeah.
Make sure you do, like I said before, brake lights. But not only brake lights, parking lights, riding lights, headlights,
riding lights, all that stuff.
Everything. Just make sure they work before you go. Walk around your bike when it's running.
Yeah.
Simple. I mean, it's like nothing. Another key thing, pegs. Floorboards. Who the fuck looks at them?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Put your feet on them and go.
Yeah.
Just make sure they're secure. Make sure if you have a passenger you're going to ride, make sure those are secure, because nothing worse than having, your backpack lose a leg because, hey, what happened?
Yeah.
So, the electrical system, it went over that pretty much with the voltage and stuff like that. Believe it or not, part of your pre-ride should be clothing.
Yeah.
Clothing. You got to make sure you're going to... What happened? Last night again. I'm only in a t-shirt. I should have wore a light jacket.
Yeah. A little cold?
It was chilly. Because I did not have the proper riding equipment. I had my gloves on, but a t-shirt. Hey... You can throw a lightweight jacket in your bag if you have saddlebags.
You really have no excuse anymore to not
have
a jacket. You should always have a jacket, my friend. It's kind of like your rain gear. You should always have rain gear.
Yeah, I mean, this is all for comfort. You're going on long rides too. You want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
So make sure you check everything out and you think about. You have a little checklist. Man, did I do that? Oh shit, I need this. And get everything going, and then you should be okay.
Absolutely.
Just check all the little things off. Look at your bike just before you ride it. It's going to take you 5 minutes, really. It's not going to take you that long to do this pre-flight inspection.
There you go.
I mean, we're both Airedales. I used to work on the airplanes. He flies them. Hey, but I used to do the inspections so he could fly it.
Exactly.
But anyway, that you got to do them. You got to do your pre-flight inspection. And you know what? Another term we could use that is still from the military is the turnaround inspection. And that would have helped with the cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I rode it one way. Hey, let's look at it real quick on the way back, before I go back. So a turnaround inspection, real quick.
Well, you know, and then on that too is even, you know, turnaround inspection. But even when you get back to the house, man, check it before you put it to bed. You know, make sure that you're not leaking any fluids that you didn't
notice.
You didn't notice before,
Oh, yeah.
or that started on that ride home or whatever. You know, catch all that stuff.
Smell it. I mean, you'll smell oil. You'll smell fuel. You'll know it right away.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Hey, Keith, how you doing, man? Anybody's got any comments, just feel free to let us know how we're doing, what's going on.
All right. So, last and certainly not least, we're going to wrap the show up today with a segment that we had started last week. We're just going to keep it going. Both the last segment with Tech Tips with 1-3 and then motorcycle events will be pretty much a weekly event, or an every show event for us, just to kind of put stuff out there. Me and 1-3 were talking yesterday, the day before. We want to try and put together a good, comprehensive calendar of events,
Right.
Not necessarily here in Florida, but kind of. We'll try
nationwide.
and do nationwide. Eventually, hopefully, to be a global entity here. But so we're going to start looking more nationwide and finding. We're not going to put. I mean, we can't put every event on there. It would take way too long.
We can hit major cities,
but we'll probably find the big events that are coming around and throw them out there so everybody knows where they're at. I know a lot of us, a lot of you guys on here tonight. Aren't from Florida, don't live in Florida, so we'll try and get your guys' locations put in here too. So if you do, if you are somewhere other than Florida, then you guys want to know what's going on in your community, in the biker community in your town or city or whatever, or state, throw a comment on either on this video or post a comment onto the Facebook page and give us where you're at. And let
Absolutely.
us know.
Let us know.
And we'll look it up and have an event list for you for the following week. So with that, we also want to, we were talking about it, and there's so many events, and everybody out there knows that this happens, but there's so many events out there that are small, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, Bobby and Joey were out riding together, and they got sideswiped by a car, and they're both in the hospital, and they don't have insurance, or whatever the case is. We're doing a benefit ride for them. Come out.
This is hypothetical, by the way.
Right.
now.
I'm just throwing anything out there, but I threw Bobby. I didn't know why.
It's okay,
just
man.
a name, but that's the thing, right? Is there's so many of these little. They're not small, but they're small in scope, right?
Normally they're last minute. Something
they're
like
last
that.
minute,
Something
exactly.
like that is a last minute gimmick, and hell, they're in the hospital. They need some money.
Right.
Something's going on. We need to help them out.
So we want to be able to be that bullhorn, so to speak, that town crier to be, hey, there's an event going on in such and such town for these people. This is what happened. Yada yada yada. Raising money for somebody's kid who just got diagnosed with cancer or whatever the case is.
Absolutely.
We want to know those things are going on. We want to know that. We want to know what your event is. So if anybody out there has an event or knows of an event that needs to be put out there, let us know.
Let us know. We'll put it on air. And we'll check
put it
out.
on air. We'll put it on our Facebook, and we'll get it out there. We're trying. We do have some small contacts with. I don't want to. They're not small contacts. We're small with big contacts in big outlets, big media outlets.
We can take
in the
care.
biker community.
Yes.
So if you have something come around, let us know. We'll put it on our end, and we'll try and get them on the big boys too, and try and get that out as well. So with that said, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're going to do. We've got something coming up next week.
Next week, yes.
Is it next week already?
Well, it's not this weekend, so it's,
Yeah, so it's next weekend.
Is it? What the
I'm
hell
almost
month is
positive.
it? I don't even know what.
Yeah.
Hold on. What date is this? Oh, we're
It's
in the
next
8th,
week.
so it is next week.
Yeah, so next week
St. Pete Bike Fest.
we got St. Pete Bike Fest, and looking forward to it.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to be out there Friday night, after everybody gets off of work, and then we'll be out there all day Saturday. We're gonna try. I don't know. We're not gonna try. We're gonna get some videos. We're gonna interview some people. Definitely go to some of the bike shows and get some really cool videos of all the bikes.
Is there a bike build off going on there, or is that at the?
I think there is. There's always. I think if there's not a build off, there's absolutely a bike show going.
Okay, so this is November 14th through the 18th. It's all day.
I think we're back.
Oh, we're back. Yep, there's Dan says.
So anyhow, we'll just push this in and call it a night. But
yeah, we got a lot of editing to do to make this thing right.
We might end up redoing this one. But anyways, so St. Pete Bike Fest next week. We're definitely going to be there. We're going to have a hell of a time. We'll get some cool videos. We'll get some good pictures, and we will post that on our Facebook for sure.
Absolutely.
And with that, before this thing decides to go static on me again. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's going on. I've got some work to do to try and figure all that shit out. So
yeah, we're gonna have to do a couple testings.
So apologize.
Did we go out at the checklist? Don't tell me that, man, because that was long. I can do it again.
Yeah. So no, that's all right. We'll figure this out. We might rehash some things next week. Yeah, we'll do a show next week prior to St. Pete Bike Fest too. So hopefully I'll get that. I'll get all that shit figured out before next week. But
yep.
Anyhow, I will. I'll try and edit this down and post it on Facebook. I'll probably delete this live video once we get it on there. I'll edit this down.
Thanks, Dan.
And we'll get a good video that you can at least go back and watch. So again, sorry for all that. But that's fucking technology.
Hey, man, that's how it goes.
So with that, guys, really do appreciate everybody coming and checking us out. We'll be back again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah, I know when you grew up.
Yeah, and we'll have some fun with it. So without further ado, thanks a lot. Really enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed the show. And let's keep it rocking.
Absolutely. Rubber side down, baby.
Awesome, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.